Hey guys, so today we'll be doing a client makeup tutorial. This is my beautiful model, Stephanie, my best friend. So to begin with, I started off by cleansing her face with a facial astringent and a little cotton pad. And you just want to remove any excess oils that may be on the face. Then to prime, I went in with the Fenty Beauty primer, and I also went in with some facial moisturizer. This part was so funny.
You thought that was it? I was trying to be funny on the note.
So I just used a flat brush to apply the primer all over her face. Of course, you always want to focus in on the T-zone, the areas that are oily more. But I just did a good layer around everywhere, and I just sped this part up so you can see the process of me applying it all over her face. So for brows, I use my Absolute New York Slim Brow Pencil in the shade Smoke. And as you can see, I'm just starting off by outlining and brushing her natural brow hairs to smooth them out. And then here you just want to start giving some shape. Sorry if my camera is not 100% focused. It was going in and out. But you just want to, for the most part, start by drawing out the shape on the bottom portion of the brow and then building that arch and then the tail and then just filling it in and using the spoolie to brush out the drawing of the pencil on there so it could be a smooth transition. So to clean up the eyebrows, I used my e.l.f. 16-hour Caramel Concealer in the shade Medium Walnut, I believe. Tan Walnut, I'm sorry, y'all. And I just got a nice, precise flat brush. And I literally just put the concealer on really nicely on the brush and I just carve out the brows. I just shape it. I kind of do back and forth motions, and then when I get to the tail portion of the eyebrow, I glide it as you saw before, and then I just go back in and make sure the line is very smooth. Brows is something that takes a while, whether you're doing it on yourself or you're doing it on a client. You just want to be very patient, keep a steady hand, and it's better to do little by little than to try to just achieve it all in one motion. It's no, just take your time. And this is usually when I tell my clients to please not talk, because when they're talking and if you're resting your hand on their cheek, it's going to be moving up and down, and it's just like I've had to wipe brows off and start over because the concealer got messed up and you don't want that. But after you use the concealer, I actually use the concealer on the eyelid to prime it, and then I went in with a flat fluffy brush and pressed it in. And then here and there I just went in and added some more like definition and cleaned it up on the brow, and then went back in with the fluffy brush to buff it all out. So to start with my transition shade, I used the Urban Decay Naked Petite Heat palette, and I went in with that shade right there to build my transition color using a fluffy brush. So I went in with this Juvia's Place palette and I used this cream white eyeshadow and I applied it to a majority of her lid, and I used a flat, dense, fluffy brush. Not really so fluffy, but a dense eyeshadow brush, and I just patted it on the lid. So to give this look some sparkle, I went in with a beautiful shimmer silver pigment, and it's just beautiful. A little goes a long way. So I just started from the inner portion of her eye and softly patted it to the outer portion. So for lashes, I use my lashes from my business, Anosha's Artistry, and these lashes are called Sweetie. If you're interested in getting these beautiful lashes, a nice natural everyday look pair of mink strip lashes, cruelty free, visit my website. The link is in the description box. And I took those lashes out and I applied some dual lash glue on it, and I sit it on the counter and I let it dry so the glue could get really tacky. So usually in the meantime I'll do something else. So for example, as you see here, I am doing her liner and I'm using the e.l.f. Black liner with the brush tip, not the felt tip. And you just want to take your time, have a steady hand. Once again, don't have your clients talking. And I just wanted to give her a simple liner. Nothing, no wing liner, just something simple. So before putting on her false lashes, I went and put some mascara on her lashes. So to line her waterline, I used a black eye pencil by the brand Kiss. You can find these at a drugstore or at the hair store for $1. And then after my glue was tacky and dry, I went and applied. So I'm a little cross between using my hands and a tweezer. I'm in my hand phase. For some reason, it's easier for me to put on lashes on clients and myself with my hands, and then afterwards I'll use a tweezer to like clamp the inner portion and do small little edits with the lashes when it gives me a hard time. But for the most part, I just pop them on. It takes practice. It really takes practice, and I'm not perfect at it, but when I was a beginner, I used to be like, how the hell do people put lashes on? Like, how? But I have a detailed video coming soon teaching you guys how to apply lashes on yourself, on people, and also a brow routine. But yeah, I just popped them on her and it was exactly what she wanted. She doesn't like crazy lashes, she wanted something natural. I was making a video for Instagram. If you haven't already, follow me on Instagram. I have it in the description box below. So I went in with a setting spray by MAC. My camera had died actually. I'm sorry, you guys. I used Black Opal Cream Foundation. I do not know the shades I use for her because I have mine in a palette, but I did two-tone her. I used a darker color on the outer perimeter of her face and a lighter color on the inner portion of her face. And after applying the cream foundation on her, I used the setting spray to help loosen it up. And I'm using my Real Techniques Instapop brush to blend it all out. So when it comes to the foundation, take your time, pat it in, just keep patting and pressing it into the skin. You don't really want to use swiping motions. In certain areas, as I'm tapping it in, I may swipe in certain sections, but it's very minimal. And you just want to go in all the areas that crease, around the mouth, everywhere, and just gently pat it in. So time to conceal. So I used that same e.l.f. tan walnut concealer and I applied it to her chin, above her mouth, in the cupid's bow area, down the middle of her nose, her forehead, and underneath her eyes. So then I went in with a damp beauty blender and I blended out all the areas that I applied the concealer. So once again, my camera had died at this part, and I just went back in with my Black Opal foundation palette, and I got the darkest shade on there, and I applied it to her cheekbone area and on the sides of her nose. I didn't want to put any cream contour around her forehead because I didn't want to let it interfere with her hair. So I just put it in those areas, and I used a Real Techniques dense brush and blended it all out. And then I went in also with my foundation brush to smooth out the areas where the foundation, concealer, and contour meet. So you never want it to be harsh. You always want to blend it out. When it comes to blending out her contour on her nose, I used a pointy eyeshadow brush. So for baking, I went in with Translucent Honey by Laura Mercier, and I absolutely love this powder. I swear by her powders. I just started using the honey one, and I also got the darker shade one. I always use the translucent, and let me tell you, this is beautiful on all skin tones. Um, it's most definitely a must-have. If you don't have it in your kits, I would suggest that you get it. But all the areas that I concealed, I put the powder on. So once again, that is the chin area, above the mouth, down the nose, on the forehead, underneath the eyes. And when you put powder on underneath the eyes, you always want to do a light coat and press it in first and then go back in and add some more powder to let it bake. So right now, this is the baking portion of it. I already pressed some powder in prior to letting it bake now. So to set her contour, I went in with Dark Deep by MAC and used a fluffy brush and applied it over the areas that I did the cream contour. So I went in with MAC's dark powder and I used it to dust off all of the honey translucent powder that we put on the face so it can set nicely into the skin. So I went in with the Saharan Volume 1 blush palette by Juvia's Place. It's a blush palette more targeted to people who have deeper skin tones. And I went in with those two colors. So I know you may be thinking, wow, why is she putting that much blush on? To be honest, this isn't a lot of blush with the technique that I use. So if you ever feel like you overdo it with blush, just know that all you have to do is get a damp beauty blender, spray your face, make sure your beauty blender is damp, and just pat it and blend it in. And you will see how it softens up and beautifully blends into the skin. So just take your time once again and be patient and blend it out, and you will see the difference from the side I'm blending out to the other side that is not blended out yet. So keep watching. You see how big of a difference that is? Like, that's why it's so important after putting blush on, contour, you always want to go back in and blend it out. A huge difference. So then for highlight, I just used this beautiful pearly pink highlighter that I have, and I put it on her chin, cupid's bow, tip of her nose, forehead area, cheekbone area, of course. Look at that glow, honey. And then I also put some on her brow bone. Beautiful. And then like always, you want to go back in with that damp beauty blender and blend out the areas that you applied that shimmer highlight. So to line her lips, I just used a dark brown lip pencil that I honestly got from the hair store for $1, and I just lined out her beautiful lips. She did want a red lip for her occasion she was going to. And yeah, unfortunately, my camera died again. I am so sorry, you guys. But I did line her lips with a brown liner and then filled it in with a beautiful deep red color from Juvia's Place. I tried to get it to focus, but then unfortunately, my camera died. But you always want to take your time when doing a red lip. This was a red liquid matte lipstick. But yes, this is my beautiful Stephanie, my model. I hope you guys enjoyed this client makeup tutorial. If you would like to see more, just let me know, comment, give me some feedback, tell me what you would like to see. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I have a lot coming. And like and comment on this video. Share it too. Follow me on Instagram. Do all that.